what's this coin situation you were talking about?
Okay.
Is this America's trying
Yeah,
to
so
make
this
a
is in
coin?
America. So they've been talking about this for a little while.
America.
So I haven't like
Bezos.
I did a
Bezos, yeah.
I looked into this quite a while ago, and I just happened to see it in the news, so I haven't had time to like fully research into it yet. But so they're talking again about creating a coin that's worth $1 trillion. And basically because the U.S. debt crisis, there's like a debt ceiling crisis. Like there's just too much debt, and they don't know what to do about it. So they're
keep
just
printing more.
Yeah, well, it's not even like they're just like passing off the printing part, and they're just gonna make this coin and go, all right, everyone, this is worth $1 trillion, and it's now in our bank account. And then boom, there's just an extra $1 trillion for a surplus or something, so that they can go and keep lending out more money. So with that, there's like nothing really stopping them from making a $100 trillion coin. Like there's nothing at all. If Biden were to approve a $100 trillion coin, it would probably get him impeached, and there would be some consequences, but there's nothing stopping them at all.
He wouldn't even
right?
know he got impeached. He'd just fucking show up with his apple juice and keep talking.
Yeah, so I think it'll happen eventually because they've been talking about this for a while now. Supposedly about
coin.
Yeah, so supposedly about a decade, and it would be a commemorative coin. I don't know if it'd be in a museum or something like that. I don't know. I think it's supposed to be.
I'd keep that close at hand. I wouldn't be like, hey, do you mind just holding on to this?
Yeah.
Just keep it in a case near the side.
Heads or tails.
Like, no.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be maybe made out of platinum is what someone talked about, I think. But yeah, it's gonna be fancy, commemorative.
It's like an actual coin?
A physical coin, yeah. Yeah, just to physically represent $1
There's
trillion.
NFTs.
We're at fucking Tim Hortons. Hey, yeah, you got change? Let me take your whole fucking franchise.
Yeah,
worth.
every single Tim Hortons and Starbucks
you go to put
and Dunkin' Donuts, like
You
so
forget,
on
you
and so
forget
on.
the coin in the shopping cart. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah,
like, won't that like? I imagine the second that they do that, inflation is gonna go fucking through the roof. You just added $1 trillion.
Yeah,
And then they're sitting here. They're like, we can't afford to have healthcare. Like, how much money would that be? Just make $1 trillion and fucking pay for healthcare.
Yeah,
like if that's
loans
what your
would
options
just be
are.
out the fucking window. Everyone would be getting a loan and everything,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden everything's expensive now, right? As soon as loans are cheap to get, everything gets expensive. That's how it works.
Yeah, that seems asinine.
It's crazy, but
it's been crazy.
They've dug themselves into a hole so deep that there's really no backing out at this point, right? You got to double down when you're.
I guess they're really saving money because they were probably gonna print out $1 trillion, but now they don't have to buy the paper. They don't have to pay the person to press it.
Yeah,
they just make one little coin and switch the numbers on the computer.
Okay, so this kind of ties into a question that I've had that maybe you guys can talk to me about here. Every time we get around election season, we just had the Canadian election like last week. American elections about a year ago by now, year and a bit, almost 2 years actually. We're talking about them just like basically you said throwing like $1 trillion into the market to presumably help pay off debts. And now we're talking about countries that are in debt. What is that government, like that national debt, what does it really mean? Because like people always talk about like, oh, this candidate, put us in more debt in his term than the last 3 candidates did in their terms. Like, piece of shit. And it's like, I get that. Like, I get the numbers. It makes sense to me. But like, with the exception of like a few small countries, every single country in this world is in debt by billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So like, does that really make a difference? Like, it's not like it's ever going to get paid off. Like if America owns, like I'm making up a number, $50 billion, are they ever going to pay that off? Of course not. They're just going to get more in debt over the years, and the Senate's just going to have to keep increasing their budget to allow for them to be in that.
That also has
debt.
a lot to do with inflation. So that's why as time goes on, the cost of everything gets inflated. So technically, as the debt builds up and up, it's technically easier and easier to pay off because you need more money to pay. Like it's a hard circle to kind of loop around, but we're in debt to ourselves. We're in debt to our future selves. We're taking money away from our future selves, and then we have to pay it off in the future through inflation and through taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So as this kind of happens, that debt ceiling slowly creeps up, and it's kind of like a give and take thing where the fact that we have the debt there is good for the economy in the sense of like, well, at least we know future generations are going to be stimulating the economy because they kind of have to because they're in debt because of us. So it kind of just keeps happening, right? So the debt ceiling is like imaginary. It's just kind of made up. But the more we think about it, the more we realize how fucked up that is. It's
I guess
it's a
it's
weird
just,
thing.
even that though, like I get that, but like, what does it matter if we're in debt though? Because like you're saying, like
That's all the debt is. We block it off and then pretend it's not there. We say the only time it comes up is at elections so that you can talk shit about somebody, even though the next guy's gonna do the exact same thing, not change a single
Right.
thing.
and
It's just
and to
talk.
your point, like one of the biggest knocks on Trudeau is everyone says how much money he spends, and that's not untrue.
Yeah.
You look at the numbers; it's obviously spending a bunch of fucking money. I mean, everyone, I 100% will agree with this point too. Everyone's saying he wasted $600 million on what? A vanity project? Because what was this election for? Fucking nothing. He calls an early election in the middle of the pandemic to what? He got 2 seats out of it, and we
nobody liked him. Like I don't
see,
even get it.
See, but here's the thing: nobody liked him, but clearly more people liked him enough to get him elected. And we're in the exact same government we were in before. So everyone that's like fuck Trudeau, there's even more people that are saying in more populated areas that are saying no, we prefer Trudeau.
Yeah,
So,
well, it has like it's the same reason why Bush stayed in office for two runs in office or whatever. It's because in the middle of an issue, like we're in the middle of a pandemic or in the middle of like the war and stuff like that, people would rather stick with what they know because at least it's that consistent option rather than switch it up. And it's like, well, that candidate might be better, but we don't actually, he doesn't have a track record yet, right?
The evil you know versus the evil you don't.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, well, I hate this guy, but I'm still going to vote for him because at least he's here and I know what he's doing versus I don't know what that other person's going to be doing. Like,
yeah.
And he was smart about his campaign.
Psychology.
He just doubled down on what he stood for. Like when he started
I'm going to make pot legal twice.
and he made the same fucking promise. Oh, it's going to be $10 a day daycare. He made that promise last time he was voted in. And now he's making it again. Like, you can't fucking say the same thing.
Well, I mean, like, we can get into an entire debate about the election and how much people feel one way or another about Trudeau. But, like,
I hate them
people always talk about how much money he spends. He spent more than last guy. Yeah, cool. The last guy spent more than the guy before
That's
that
just
because of
People
inflation.
don't realize that, though, right?
The money just inflates. The number gets bigger and so on and so on. And that's great. But what is that? If we're just getting negative, who cares? Like, it just seems like such an irrelevant
scary thing is once people realize that who cares, there's going to be an economic collapse because literally, who cares? It's all made up. It's printed from nothing. And once we kind of realize how insignificant that fact is, or how significant that fact is, like it's made up, but I have to pay for it because you're the one printing it and you get to decide when you're printing it.
That's the thing with the government is like we exchange money for goods and services. I buy something off Kyle. He gives me something. We exchange value like that.
Yeah.
The government can do whatever the fuck they want. They run our currency.
Yeah.
So like their internal debt means fucking nothing to them. And I'm just like, why are we even debating who's making a country in more debt? It means nothing to us. And it won't mean anything in our entire lifetime. And if we're in $10 million in debt or $50 billion in debt, we will not notice a single difference in our day-to-day. So why is that even a point when it comes to elections?
There's going to be something happening within our lifetime that's going to be some sort of financial issue, like some sort of collapse on something, because eventually the straw that broke the camel's back. Like something's going to happen eventually where it just can't keep going on anymore.
So the Doomsday event in my head, I played a video game that this was kind of how it was based off, and it was about North Korea. They were supplying America with troops, or not troops, for money, for equipment, tanks, their defense, and then America every year they're like, we need to borrow more money to get this. They kept giving them, and then they said, "Kate, this is it. We want our money back," and they said, "We don't have it." So they had set up a fail switch and everything. They turned it all off, took over America, because they had for the last 20 years supplied them with every kind of defense mechanism that they had. And when it was a loan, so they technically still owned it. So they turned it off, took it back, and took over America because America had no defense. So, like the idea of people talking about China owns most things. Like a lot of the debt is owed to China. So if I don't know if it's even possible for them to do something like that.
Then China's
assume
debt
no.
owed too.
That's the thing. I don't know if they spend their money.
They
'cause-
have debt too.
Well, I don't know who they have debt to, but I feel like the debt that this is all
China
speculation.
is the 9th most in debt country in the
Yeah.
world. America's number 1.
Yep.
Canada's 10.
But that's the thing. If America owes China more money than China owes whoever they're in debt to, because that's the thing. If you supply enough money to everybody else, you can accrue a shitload of debt. But if you come collecting for yours, you're gonna have more money coming
Yeah, but
in.
that's
How do you
then
ever
I don't-
it
collect?
turns into
And
a game of chess. So let's
is
say
my thing, I don't
theoretically,
think
I know.
exactly
Let's
China.
play with this theory for a second. So let's say America owes a ton of money to China. China owes a ton of money to, let's say, Australia. It's in America's best interest to become really good allies with Australia, because if that time ever happens, then America's going to go, hey, Australia, these guys are fucking around with us. You got to do the same to us or to them, and they're going to do it to them. And then whatever happens with that, and it's going to be this trickle down effect of world economics of all of these secret alliances are going to pop up into place and go, oh shit, now the world has taken two sides. It's financial Armageddon. And there's not like a world war like we've ever known about. It's going to be a financial war where there's going to be short squeezes that are going to destroy entire countries. And that's going to be the potential of the next third world war. It's not going to be with guns. It's going to be with money and power.
Yeah.
And that's it's very, very possible, right? But
And
you just
that's
got to
the
keep
thing.
digging that hole.
It's probably not going to work exactly how the video game described. Maybe a little bit different, but like that's what like when I think of what happens is eventually somebody has to collect a debt. Like if you owe somebody money and it's significant an amount, they're eventually going to call you like, hey, I'm kind of down on my luck. I need that money that you owe me. And you say no, they're going to show up at your door.
Yeah, but
So
like
this is
now we're talking
people
about
debt and government debt are two very different things,
no,
so,
100%.
But like I guess that's the ultimate conclusion though is one day they're going to show up at your door asking for their money, and we have a fucking army too, and everyone
that's
has
why
an
the army is so big, right? That's why
Like-
most of the budget goes to the army, because it's like, yeah, this money isn't made up, so we're gonna spend it while everyone assumes it's real, and we're gonna put it into our army defenses,
right? And
because then
now
we at least
we're-
got
like the
physical
video
thing.
game said, what if China sent them the defense? They sent them all their military and they just click a button and like, no more military.
yeah, well,
You
that's
never
the thing.
know. I don't
No
know.
one is-
I don't
I
know
just-
that
That's
at all.
why Elon's going to
that's
Mars.
way too far.
No one is ever. I just don't think anyone's ever going to actually collect their debt. Like no one's ever going to do it. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Maybe that thing that you were talking about, that internal implosion happens eventually, but like I don't know. It just seems like such a pointless topic to debate and who's better for our like government.